What's the best Magic the Gathering deck of all time? That's a good question. We wondered too, so we bought every standard deck that ever won a world championship and played them against each other again and again and again. We played 5 rounds of Swiss and now cut to top 8, and we're gonna be covering the entire top 8, bringing them to you at home. In today's matchup, I get to play Tinker, which has some of the coolest and best setup cards you will ever find in Magic. You may know many of them from Cube. Grim Monolith and Metalworker are some of the craziest fast mana you'll ever experience, and Tinker is one of the most broken things to do in Magic, period. Backing all of this up is a kind of lockout game engine where first and foremost you have Tangle Wire that taps all of your opponent's lands. You also have a Mishra's Helix in the deck to lock your opponent out if you want to get it out by a Tinker. I'll do my best.
Today we're playing Temur Energy. The cool kids call it Temurgy. Huey Jensen won the World Championships in 2017 with this combination of cards that are just straight raw power. Cards were very powerful at the time, and the energy mechanic was so hard to interact with that this required multiple bannings. The thing is, you've got this stack of energy, and there's no cards that are like destroy target energy, or you can't attack an energy pile. It's just this stack of intangible resource that you can use throughout the game, and the more you amass of it, the more powerful your cards are. You're playing things like Whirler Virtuoso, Rogue Refiner, Harness Lightning, and the enablers are just so powerful. Rogue Refiner, which was banned afterwards, is just a 3 mana, 3/2 that draws you a card and adds to your energy reserve. Even Attune with Ether is just this 1 mana color fixer that gets you the land you want and just happens to add energy to your pool. And one of the best payoffs for this deck, because you want it to go under. This deck is good at applying pressure. You play Longtusk Cub, it just attacks, gets bigger, attacks, gets bigger. You play your regular spells, it gets bigger. Most of the time it's like a Tarmogoyf. It's like a 2 mana 6/6. This deck is just raw power. Jamin, it takes 2 to tangle.
It only takes me to tangle in this matchup.
Are you gonna put all your energy into it?
Yes, I will put all my energy into it. But first, I'd like to tinker with these dice.
Okay, I promise we're done. You did tinker.
I tinkered with the dice. Damn it! I forgot to untinker them.
I would like to go first.
Please do. No, actually, I really hate the idea because that makes Longtusk Cub like
a lot better on the play. Yes.
So scary.
Still, good luck.
And to you.
This hand is missing a bit of power. I could really use a Glorybringer or a Bristling Hydra, but I can also draw into one eventually. It's got a lot of the key pieces to interact, so we'll keep. I don't see why we wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep this.
All right, yeah, me too. The starting hand looks great to me because it's quite flexible in what it wants to do. I can ramp out stuff early, I can tinker early, I can take it slow with Brainstorm.
Okay, this is important, Jamin. One of these decks is not going to make it through this match.
Yeah,
into the semifinals.
It's kind of sad to think about it.
Really sad to think about how your deck is not going to make it through the semifinals.
Bring it on.
Well, I'm going to kick things off pretty strong because I'm going to start with a banned card. Not Botanical Selectum. You still get to play that one. But they did ban Attune with Ether back in the day.
I remember.
Yeah. I'm actually going to get to use the Cardmarket tokens. I don't want to use them in front of Andrea Mengucci because he's going to call me a nerd. But against you, I know it's safe here. I add 2 to my pool and I search my library for a basic land card. I reveal it and put it into my hand. Then shuffle my library. I'm going to get a mountain.
All right.
To my hand. And it's your turn.
I'm going to play as Sarpazian Scary. This one enters the battlefield tapped. Oh, so bad. But it enters with 2 counters on it, and I can remove a counter to create 2 blue mana.
Wow!
And if I remove the last counter, it gets sacrificed.
Less wow.
Yeah,
but that's exciting.
But right now, it ramps me. Go ahead.
I'm gonna draw. Normally, you'd want to play the Rogue Refiner here because you want to curve out into a really big, powerful spell. But I have nothing to curve into, and I'm really afraid of Jamin dropping down a Metalworker or a Masticore. So I think I have just better payoff keeping up the Essence Scatter, then playing a 3 mana spell on turn 3, and then on turn 4, I get to play 2 spells. The double spelling as early as possible is one of the key ways to snowball in this deck. Unfortunately, I don't have a Longtusk Cub.
I love to hear that.
That I don't have a Longtusk Cub?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna play a mountain and pass.
Honestly, on the play, that's awesome. Like, Otherwise, I don't know how to... I mean, there are ways to beat it, but it's tough. I could go for an early Masticore or Metalworker, but both of these die to Harness Lightning, and that seems very risky to me. Instead, I think I'll go all out, producing as much mana as possible and going for an early Tinker plus a Metalworker, hoping that either the Phyrexian Colossus or the Metalworker sticks to, you know, take my game plan further. I'll play a Crystal Vein. Now, Crystal Vein, special land, because it taps for colorless, or I can sacrifice it for 2 colorless.
Ooh.
Which I'm gonna do.
Oh, you're going all in?
Just, I don't need lands. Which I will use to cast a Grim Monolith.
Okay.
Maybe the best card in the deck. Maybe Tinker is even more broken, but this one, pretty good fast mana. 2 mana artifact, doesn't untap during my upkeep, but I can tap it to add 3 colorless mana, or I can pay 4 to untap it. Luckily, I can just tap it right away, so I have 3 colorless mana floating. I'll use one of those to cast a Voltaic Key.
Ah, that's pretty good with Grim Monolith.
Yeah, because this one just untaps an artifact for 1 mana. Pretty nice. So now I will use this ability. I have 1 mana left floating, but I also have an untapped Grim Monolith. You guessed it, I'll tap it again. Having 4 colorless mana floating, and now 4 colorless mana and 2 blue mana, making 6 mana in total. I'll use 3 of that mana to cast Tinker, the namesake of the deck. I'm gonna sacrifice this Grim Monolith as an additional cost, and now I get to look for any artifact. Any objections?
Some, but I can't voice them with my cards.
That's what I hoped for.
Not in this court.
You know what? These days, people are spoiled. They get to play with Sundering type. Back in these days, I have a Phyrexian Colossus.
It's called Colossus.
I mean, it's gotta be good. It's a 7 mana 8/8 that doesn't untap.
Oh! And what does it do for that? What's the upside?
I can pay 8 life to untap it. Oh! And then also it can only be blocked by 3 or more creatures. Do you remember all the stuff I did earlier to generate mana?
Yes.
I still have 3 mana left over. There's still a Metalworker to be found.
I'm gonna Essence Scatter the Metalworker.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I can. I'd rather have it in play, but whatever. Go ahead.
I'd rather not have an 8/8 on the other side of the board. I'm gonna play a Forest, and I'll tap these 3 lands. For a Whirler Virtuoso, when it enters the battlefield, I get 3 energy, going up to 5. And at any time, I can pay 3 of this energy to create a 1/1 colorless stop turn artifact creature token with flying.
Joke's on you. This one can't even be chump blocked because you gotta block with 3 creatures.
3 chump blockers. That's my turn.
All right, cool. I'll untap all my permanents except for the Colossus. Oh, lucky me, it's already untapped. And then I'll move to my draw. And you know what? I didn't bring in this 8/8 to block. Let's get into the red zone.
I got a 12. Man, back then, an 8/8 was real strong, and turns out, right now, an 8/8 still pretty big.
Still pretty good. I'm gonna play a Rashad and Port.
Oh no, you get to keep on untapping it without sacrificing your land.
Now Rashad and Port's special land, because I can actually tap the port to tap one of your lands.
You can.
And that's my turn, actually.
But you'll have to sacrifice your land to do so. So the cost is high.
Yeah, it is. During your upkeep, I think I would do that though. So I'll float 2 blue mana. I'll use 1 of that to tap your Botanical Sanctum. And then I still have 1 floating blue mana. I'll untap my Colossus.
That makes sense. I'll draw. I would have liked to have that blue mana, Jamin.
I mean, that's what I hope for.
I'll start by attacking.
Yes! Down to 18.
And if this is going to cost me a lot of energy, Jamin, I'll be very tired after. I might need a nap. But I do think I found a solution to get rid of your Dreadnought. I'm going to pay 2. I'm going to cast Harness Lightning on the Dreadnought. I get 3 energy when this happens, so I go up to 8. And then I may pay any amount of energy. Could be 1, could be 8. Harness Lightning deals that much energy to that creature. I will use 8 energy on your Phyrexian Dreadnought.
Honestly, this is the difference between old card design and new card design. What is? I got the Colossus plus Metalworker earlier because I thought it would be safe against Harness Lightning and only be weak to Abrade. But Carl managed to accumulate too much energy.
So I'll play a Forest, and I'll pass turn to you.
I'll untap all of my permanents, which are 2. Time for another good draw. That wasn't a good draw. Yikes. I'll pass the turn.
I'll untap. Would you? Oh, you don't have a second land.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll draw.
Way to rub it in.
I'm sorry, I feel mean now. That felt dirty. I'm going to play another hub, which is going to give me another energy. It's a land. I can just tap, use an energy to give any color of mana. I'm going to attack you for 2.
Sure.
16. I'm also going to play a Longtusk Cub. It's not quite as good on turn 5.
Yeah.
But when it deals combat damage to player, I put 2 energy into my pool. And if I pay 2 at any time, I give it a +1/+1 counter.
All right.
Speaking of 2 energy, I'm going to play a Rogue Refiner.
Oh, wow.
Which, another bad card. When it enters, I'll add 2 to my reserve and I'll draw a card. And I'll pass the turn to you.
How grateful.
Felt like a mistake at first, keeping the mana open to counter that metal worker, but I'm sure glad I did it, because you've got a lot of cards in hand that would be on the board right now.
Yep. I mean, you could have maybe used the Harness Lightning. I don't know, maybe, whatever.
No, you need the Harness Lightning for the 8/8.
Yeah. I'll play another scary. This one pretty scary.
I'm very scared.
Yeah. It enters tap, and I'll pass the turn.
I'll untap, I'll draw. I will get 1 more energy to my reserve. And in the vein of adding energy to my reserve, I'm going to tap 2, play a Servant of the Conduit, going up to 6 energy. And I'm going to declare attacks.
Yep.
With the Knucklehead Brigade. They all attack for 2. No, wait, they don't. I'm going to use 2 energy, put a +1/+1 counter on my Longtusk Cub.
All right.
I'll then use 2 energy to put a +1/+1 counter on my Longtusk Cub.
This hurts.
I'll also use 2 energy to put a +1/+1 counter on my Longtusk Cub.
So that's 10 in total?
Yes, I would like to deal 10 damage.
Down to 6.
I will add 2 energy to my energy reserve because I hit you in the face with the Longtusk Cub.
You did.
Go.
I'll untap. And I will draw. I think this is very slightly too little too late. I can add 3 mana to my mana pool.
Okay.
Of which I will use 2 to cast a Grim Monolith. And then I have 4 mana in my pool. Untapping and tapping, I have 6 mana in my pool.
Yes.
I'm gonna cast a Masticore, which used to be a major staple, right? It's a 4 mana, 4/4 creature. At the beginning of my upkeep, I have to discard a card or sacrifice the Manticore. And for 2 mana, I can deal 1 damage to a creature or regenerate the Masticore. That's actually a good creature, but I think it's too little right now.
I think right now on board, can I attack?
Yeah.
Thank you. You don't have to let me attack, but you chose to be graceful. I'm going to attack.
I'll block here.
You take.
I take a second game. That's what I take. For sideboarding, Carl's cards are generally just too good and too efficient. So I'll have to bring in all 4 miscalculations to try and trade 1-for-1 for them. I'll take out 2 Tinkers because those are very weak to negate. I'll take out 1 Phyrexian Processor because I feel like they're kind of weak to Abrade and like negate to a lesser extent, but especially Abrade. And then also 1 Metalworker because it's too weak against stuff like Magma Spray and Harness Lightning.
Sideboarding here doesn't have any big swinger cards. I'm just upgrading the cards I already have slightly. First of all, Appetite for the Unnatural and Abrade. Just destroy anything in his deck. It's okay. I'm upgrading other cards to bring these in. Confiscation Coup as well. I have 1 already in my deck. I want more because it steals an artifact or a creature. It's also really good at dealing with Masticore. And finally, I'm just going to trade one of these Essence Scatters for a negate because I want to get rid of a Tinker when he casts it, or a lot of... I'm on the draw here, so I need to get under his big mana payoffs. So turn 2, that's a key moment to do that. In exchange, I'm going to get rid of 2 Magma Sprays because they kill almost nothing except for their Metal Worker, and the other cards I'm bringing in are just better. 2 Essence Scatter because if he Tinkers for an 8/8 again, I don't want to be stuck with an Essence Scatter in my hand. And finally a Harness Lightning because the other cards I'm bringing in are just more efficient removal than that. So I dodged the Tangle Wire last game, but I assume you're going first.
Yeah, I will.
All right.
Let's see if it gives me a fighting chance.
Good luck.
And to you. The starting hand would look better with a Grim Monolith or a Tangle Wire, but it still has the potential for a very early Tinker or just some generic fast mana. I'll keep it. I'll keep this.
I'm in a tough spot. This hand is full of good cards, but this hand is the opposite of the hand in game 1. I have all the super powerful cards, but I don't have a lot of interaction. and I don't have a lot of mana. So hopefully I draw the lands to get there, and maybe I draw a little bit more interaction. This Confiscation Coup is really gonna come in handy. I just hope I don't have to face a Tangle Wire. I'll keep it and hope I'm lucky. I've got a game to give. So
all right. I'll play one of those scaries again.
Yep.
Entering with 2 counters.
It's got 2 turns.
Go ahead.
I'll draw. I will play a forest and pass the turn to you.
I'll untap. I'll draw. Deploying the Thran Dynamo this early should give me a huge resource advantage going into the later turns. If Carl has an Abrade for it, that is very painful, don't get me wrong, but I still think it might be better than potentially an Abrade on one of my payoffs, right? Especially with the Tinker still in hand, I might be able to play through an Abrade here. I'll play Crystal Vein.
That looks a lot like
Last game, yeah, right? I thought so too. But today, this time, I'm gonna pay 4 to cast a Thran Dynamo rather than Tinker stuff. And I'll tap the Thran Dynamo to cast a Voltaic Key.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have any follow-up right now, but I'm still gonna untap the Dynamo.
Just to show off.
Just to show off.
I'm impressed.
Go ahead.
I'll draw. I will play an island and tap 2 for a Servant of the Conduit. Same thing. Same old usual. I'm gonna get an energy reserve and put 2 energy in it. And I'll pass the turn to you.
All right. Now, I'm really untapping with a bunch of mana. Let's see what my deck delivers. This time, I'm gonna try a different strategy. I'm gonna play Rishadenport once again.
Card.
I'll float 2 blue.
Oh no, Jamin, you lost your land.
I lost my land, but I'll make it 5 mana, and for 5, or rather for 4, I'll cast a Masticore. Last time,
Last game, not so scary.
medium scary, I'd say. This time, much better because I'm at 20.
And you have 2 mana up, so you can regenerate anytime you want.
With the Thran Dynamo still around, the Masticore is actually amazing because I can get so many activations out of this. Should be a very potent threat.
Masticore was a broken magic card. It's so insane that they had the inside joke on Deep Analysis. They put a Masticore and it just reads out, this specimen seems to be broken. And everyone's like, haha, that's funny because Masticore is broken. Knowing that I'm bringing in artifact removal, I was expecting Jamin to go for a Masticore here. It's gonna be tough to deal with, but luckily we have the card we need. We have Confiscation Coup in hand. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play some creatures. We're gonna hope he uses his mana to kill the creatures, hopefully not the servant. If I can put juicy enough a target on the board, maybe he won't kill the servant, he'll focus on something else. The main thing is we need to get to this Confiscation Coup. As soon as I get to 5 mana, I'm most likely going to be able to steal this Massacre, and I think we can turn the game around from here.
So I have 1 last mana floating. I'll use it to untap my Thran Dynamo.
Yep.
I already made my land drop, so I'm gonna pass the turn over to you.
I'll draw a card, hopefully a card that deals with Masticore. It's not as a Botanical Sanctum. It could rust the Manticore if we wait long enough.
Yes, let's put it into the Sanctum.
Rust the Masticore. Now I'm going to pay 3 and 1 with the Servant, going down in energy.
Okay.
To play, this deck has full of beaters in it. I'll play a Bristling Hydra. When it enters the battlefield, I get 3 more energy. Going up to 4, and if I pay 3 at any time, I can put a +1/+1 counter on Bristling Hydra, making it a 5/4, which also gives it hexproof until end of turn.
All right.
Go.
All right, with you being tapped out, I don't need to worry about regenerating, so I'll spend 4 mana to ping this Servant twice.
It dies.
It does. I'll untap all my permanents, and during my upkeep, I have to discard a card or sacrifice the Manticore. I'll discard a Brainstorm.
I was hoping you'd sacrifice the Manticore.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Not a good strategic move.
Seems like a bad deal to me. I'll play an island.
Oh, I love how you went with the old islands of the time. I was not so brave.
I'll head into the red zone, Carl.
I think I can take 4.
All right.
16. Because you're probably also taking 4.
Most
on the way
likely,
back.
most likely. But you might have made your calculations without
Are you making a second Masticore?
the mighty, the one and only. It's the Phyrexian Colossus.
Ooh, that one's big.
It is.
That one's very big. And hard to block.
But it blocks really well.
Yes, it does. It does.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll draw. You just made it real tough, Jamin.
Would you like to attack, Carl?
No!
How about some attacking?
I will play another hub, which will get me closer to boosting the Hydra enough to attack into that Colossus. And then I will play Robo Fighter.
Yep.
It'll give me 2 more energy, going up to 7. And then I will draw. I'm not going to attack it.
Yeah, oh yeah, I assumed as much.
Whew. That Abrade is timely. I don't think we could have survived without it. We just need to buy some time. Now we have something to deal with the Colossus. We just need to get to 5 mana to get rid of that Masticore. Ooh, I don't have a lot of life. I'll pass to you. Can this ping players know, right?
It can.
Okay.
No. Now, once again, I'm faced with the decision of either sacrificing the Masticore or discarding card. I'll choose the latter. I'll take my draw.
You might have to discard it next turn.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth.
I don't like the 12 power on your board, but I do like the dynamic of you having to discard the 1 card. You choose, do you want this or a Masticore?
Yep. There's a bit of a weird game going on between my Masticore and your Bristling Hydra. They're kind of tangling.
Did you draw a tangle wire? Did that inspire your choice of words?
I'll head into the red zone with both anyways.
I think I have to do this. I'm going to block with the Bristling Hydra. Currently, Jamin, they both die.
Well,
would you like to play a game?
I'll opt out of that game very quickly. I'll regenerate the Masticore.
Jamin, that is the boring option. Okay, well the game is way less exciting now, but I do feel like I need to make my Bristling Hydra bigger. Because if not, it dies. I'm going to use 3 energy.
Do I respond?
In attempt to put a +1/+1 counter on it.
Yeah, this is fine.
It would have been really cool if I landed it.
Yeah.
It still dies to the Masticore though, so I'm going to use another energy to make it go up to a 6/5.
Yep, that's fine. I'll use my remaining mana to untap the Thran Dynamo.
Yes.
And then this regenerates.
They bounce off of each other like a Slinky. Slinky's doesn't bounce in that way, but I will take 8. Down to 8.
And then I will take my opportunity now, I think, to ping the Rogue Refiner twice.
It's dead.
Yeah. I'm not entirely certain here, but it's your turn anyways.
Okay, so it's my turn to be certain about something, which is step 1, getting that Colossus off the board. Which I think I will do promptly. I'm going to pay 2. I'm going to abrade the Colossus before it kills me.
I could untap it before. I won't.
How would you untap it?
Well, I can pay 8 life.
Oh, you may.
I may.
You choose not to follow that route.
I choose not to, no.
Okay. It's destroyed with the abrade. Temur is a deck that functions really well with his foot on the gas pedal. It's not very good at playing from behind. I could keep back this Bristling Hydra and just block the Masticore forever. But no, I need to find a way to take the table and flip it on Jamin. He's going to tap down my lands eventually, so it's not like I'm going to be able to play this Confiscation Coup until I draw a few more lands. And even then, if I get to play the Glorybringer, I'm never going to be able to take down the Masticore because he'll always keep up 2 mana to defend it. So I'm going to attack. It doesn't seem wise. But if he puts another 8/8 on the board, the difference between 4 and 8 life is not a lot. And if I don't draw another land or if I don't draw an interaction spell, at least I can block with the Bristling Hydra and buy some more time. But first, I need to try to see if I can press an advantage. Jamin, I'll go to attacks.
What?
I will attack with the Bristling Hydra.
Carl, you are at 8.
I am aware of the risk I'm taking.
All right.
Soon, hopefully, if all goes well, you'll be at 8-2. And then 0.
Interesting.
Yes. You're at 14.
I am.
And then I will play a Servant of the Conduit, adding 2 energy to my pool.
Sure.
Pass the turn to you.
All right. Upkeep. I've got a trigger. Bye-bye, Metalworker.
Bye-bye.
Like, I don't know.
What's the next card on the chomping block?
Let's see. Yep. I'll tap 3.
Yes.
Tap my Thran Dynamo for 3. Untap it. Do the whole dance. I'll shoot the Servant twice.
Yes, it's dead.
And I'll head to combat.
I go to 4.
You got a 4.
That's 1 Masticore hit away.
It is. And then I'll pass the turn.
Yep.
And during your upkeep, I'll use the Rishadenport.
What are you tapping?
I think the mountain? In case of a braid or something?
Okay, it's tapped. That's okay here.
It's a good sign.
If I can't do anything, Bristling Hydra still blocks your Manticore. Oh, you're tapped out.
I am.
I'll play a Glorybringer.
Oh, no.
This is a good magic card, Jamin. So it's a 4/4 flying haste for 5 mana. When I attack, I may exert it, meaning it's tired. It needs more energy. Luckily, it's in the right deck, but it still needs to take a turn off. It won't untap on the next turn, but when I do that, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature and opponent control. Now, Masticore seems to be a lot of things. What's going on in this creature type, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
But is it a dragon?
It's not a dragon.
It's not a dragon. I'm going to declare attacks, and I'm going to tire out my Glorybringer
Yeah.
to deal 4 damage to the Masticore.
Good news, I don't have to discard a card next
You're going to take 10?
That's a lot of damage.
Going down to 4.
Yeah. I will untap. I will draw. I don't have to discard a card. That's good news. I'll tap my Thran Dynamo and the Voltaic Key, you know, do the whole dance. So now I've got 5 mana.
Okay.
I'll make it short. I'll make it quick. I'll tap 3 more, having 8. I'll cast a Phyrexian Processor. Now that only casts 4, but now I have 4 floating mana. When Phyrexian Processor enters the battlefield, I may pay any amount of life.
Which you don't have a lot to work with right now.
I'm not sure, but I think there's little downside to paying 3 life. So I'll go down to 1.
Okay.
And for 4 mana and tapping the Processor, I can create a token that's as big as I paid life, right? Yeah, for now, I've got a 3/3 jump blocker, but I think that lets me survive. Go ahead.
I will untap. Glorybringer does not untap.
Yeah, that's why I survive. Otherwise, it would be bad news.
I will draw. I'd normally say you still have 1 turn, but Jamin?
No, Carl, stop, stop it.
I'm going to pay 5 mana. I'm going to play a Confiscation Coup. The first thing it does is it adds 4 energy to my reserve.
Yeah.
And then I choose a target artifact or creature. Then I pay an amount of energy equal to that permanent's converted mana cost. If I do so, I gain control of it.
Well, would you look? There's a bunch of artifacts.
What's the converted mana cost on your minion?
It's 0, Carl.
I will choose to pay 0 energy, Jamin. And I'll attack you for 6.
Good game.
Good games.
Man, Masticore really isn't the creature it used to be,
I
Carl.
mean, what if they just remove the discard a card per turn? I feel like it could still be good. It killed a lot of my creatures.
I don't know. Anyways, you don't have to see any more Masticores in this top 8. You will, however, get to see a lot more magic. Up next is the final quarterfinals.
Yes, we have Andre Mengucci against Toral Zeverin. They're playing Psychotog and Prismatic Black Aggro.
Which is kind of a wacky deck, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's wild that it made it through the Swiss.
When you look at it on paper, it looks so bad, but it had some good matchups, and also, it's surprisingly powerful. You'll get to see in the next one. I don't know which will come up on top. I would say Psychotog if I had my money on it, but I guess we'll find out next week.
Yeah, until then, please stay tuned for the race for which is the top deck of all time, and we'll see you in the next video.